All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. STR Q&A. We're talking about Pricelabs setup. Let me just make sure I'm live everywhere because I was super late to set up the Instagram live. Had some tech difficulties. Let me just make sure I am live. If you're on Instagram, drop me a update the channel and provide the new key. Yeah, I don't think it's working to Instagram. Oh well, we'll rock without it. I don't know why, but we'll yeah, we will push forward. So I have been getting so many questions on like Price Labs specifically. I did a recording. I did a training. I think it was last week. I think it might have actually been last Q&A, STR Q&A. But I had probably 12 people, 10, 12 people reach out about something specific in Price Labs, like how to use this screen, how to use this screen, how to use this one. Just like so many follow-up questions, which is great. But I think I struck a nerve a little bit with that. So first thing, we're going to rock with some peach Waterloo. It's non-alcoholic, people. Trained for a half marathon this Sunday, so I no alcohol until that is done. But this screen, I'm going to go through. Honestly, I have not prepped a lot for this one. I'm just going to roll through Price Labs. It's going to be very unscripted. Answer if you have questions down below, I will answer them as we kind of go. If you have Price Labs specific or just like Airbnb hosting specific stuff, I'll go ahead and answer those as we go. So I will just I'm going to share my screen and kind of go through some of the big like main screens that I use specifically. I think you might be able to see majority of that screen. But anyways, it might be a little shrunk, but oh well, you'll get the gist. So I man, this could go in 1,000 different ways. So bear with me. The multi-calendar. This is probably the biggest, the biggest, the place where I spend 90% of my time and effort is the multi-calendar. So I'm not gonna like specifically go through like every button. This isn't a Price Labs training. It's essentially how I use Price Labs. And if you're not familiar with it, Price Labs is just a dynamic software that changes your pricing on Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com to maximize revenue, get you more bookings, make more money. But like, for example, July 4th would be priced at a premium, let's say 50% above what a normal other weekend, because Price Labs knows July 4th is a big weekend. So they try to get you booked at the highest rate. I will not manage a property that doesn't have dynamic pricing because it's not worth it. You will make so much more. I think on average, if you just have Price Labs, you make like 25% more, something like that, just by plugging it in, not even really setting it up. So we're like super power users. We do it for our portfolio and our clients. But this is kind of the multi-calendar. This is the majority of where we kind of spend most of our time. Here's some kind of fields that I like. I'm adding to this probably every week. MPI, and you can actually hover over these. Market Penetration Index, MPI. It's that specific listing divided by the market occupancy. And I like to have it for the next 30 days, the next 60 days, the next 90 days. So I know like what properties are doing well, and I can sort by lowest to highest. And so I'm focusing on the ones that are not doing the best. So MPI, this is something that I recently added. I heard somebody that said like if it's under one, you need to make a change some way. It could be a listing, could be a cancellation, like a policy thing, it could be a description thing, it could be a photo thing, but like something needs to change if it's under one. So like this one right here, I know exactly why this is under one here. We've already made the change and we're already starting to see a creep back up over the next 90 days. So all that to say, MPI, you want to hover between like 1 to 2 ish, 2.5. You're probably maybe underpriced, but that's all that. RevPAR, revenue per available rental, I guess. This is year to date. So like for example, this property, we're right in line with what we did last year. This one is same time last year. So this one's struggling a little bit. Let's see about that one. Same time last year, RevPAR as well. This one's right in line. So that's it's not really it's an important metric, but not like the metric you want to look at. You want to combine all of these stats to get a better picture, because you might have. I mean, this could be like, let's say last year we had a 3-month reservation that just crushed it. The revenue per available rental last year could have been lower because it's a longer booking, so your ADR goes down, but your overall revenue should go up. So it's making sure you understand these numbers and how to actually use them. Occupancy. This is a really, I mean, obviously a really good one. So I always look to last week on the training last week. I always like to think about. And this is going to be kind of a high level talk. I probably already lost some of you guys, but if you have specific follow up questions to what I'm saying, drop them in the comments. So I like to look at macro numbers and micro numbers. Macro is like, what is the market doing in general? Like if the market as a whole, like let's say this 4-bedroom house as a market is doing, 40% occupancy and 40, let's take it from a revenue perspective. Let's say this 4-bedroom house is doing 60 grand revenue. My property is doing 70, right? Like I'm outpacing the market, but I also like to look at the market because that's the closest thing that I can do from like a macro perspective. All the 4 bedrooms in X amount of X market, they're doing 60 grand. We're doing 70. So we are outperforming that from a revenue perspective. Now we might be underperforming in occupancy or ADR or RevPAR, but like the gross revenue is the main indicator. That should be your North Star. So like all of these stats are useless by themselves in a vacuum, but if you use them all together, you get a better idea of like what that property will actually look like. So like this one, for example, the next 15 days, we're 87% occupied, which is great. The market, the listings around us that are similar to this property are only 35%. So we're like doubling the occupancy for that property. But this is kind of the opposite side of the coin. I like to look at the property versus the market, but the market doesn't, you're comparing, like if you're a professional manager to a mom and pop, like you're going to outperform them, 99% of the time. So I don't like to specifically look at like the macro numbers, because you should, if you're doing this, you're treating this as a business, you're going to outperform those mom and pops every day, all day. So typically, usually I'll look at 7-day, 15, 30, and 60-day occupancy just to see like where we're dropping the ball. Like this one on paper, this right here looks like we are, it's yellow because we're lower occupancy at this property than the market in general, but it's only 1% here. I know exactly what's going on with this property, and we actually have been doing some things to already fix it. So this is same thing. It's on pace. Last year, it's actually beating last year's numbers from a RevPAR perspective. The next 15 days are a little bit under where we should be. I usually like to, at least be 10 to 40% higher in occupancy. Like this one, we've already looked at this, but like this property here, we need to make some changes, which we already have. But that'll be like kind of the red flag of like, okay, what's going on with this property? We're falling behind the market. Half the battle is just figuring out like what to work on. Like I think that's probably half of what I'm seeing of just like, where do I focus my time? Which we'll get into kind of the report builder here in one sec. But occupancy, total revenue year to date. This is also a really good one. So like I'd mentioned, these kind of like leading indicators, but revenue is like the North Star. So like so far year to date, we've generated 25 grand on this property. Even though the next 15 days aren't the greatest, we're 1% behind the market and a lot percent where we internally look. We're on pace, compared to last year. Now, this is where we would get into like, okay, how do we do last year? Did we beat the revenue? Did we fall short? Like, what happened there? Was there a huge maintenance issue? Like, a lot to kind of scope through. But this property right here, we've done 25 grand so far. Last year, same time last year is that STLY, was like 24 grand. So we're actually about $1,000 above where we were last year. Last book date. This is something that if you're like researching a property and figuring out what to focus on, like where's that one? Like May 27th. We hadn't got a booking here in it's been a week. So like this is something that I would focus on. All the other indicators are kind of saying the same thing, but I like to specifically look at like when's the last book date. And then booking pickup. This is something that I recently added. Essentially, how many bookings have you got in the last 15 days? This one right here, like 5 in the last 15 days. Like that's solid. 1 every 3 days. Some of these other ones, 0. But if you're only looking at that, like you could have we actually haven't got booked here in a long time, but I bet we're 93% occupied. So like we probably have a long stay in there it's staying, 14, 21, a couple months there. So those are kind of the main indicator, like the main KPIs that I look at from like the multi-calendar view. I'm not going to scroll over and kind of see the pricing just because that's like a little proprietary info, but like that's always my home screen. You can actually set it up in Pricelabs to default to this screen when you're working on here. So dynamic pricing, and then from there, if I'm like looking at something, I'll just pop in here and jump to the pricing calendar specifically, and then I'll like do all the edits and make the tweaks there. So kind of high level, what to focus on, and then drilling into the actual property and doing the work there. Market dashboards. This is the other like really, 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 really important one. I've done multiple trainings on what to do here. Let me know if you're not sure where those are. Where is? So we'll do show here. So this is, man, I've done a completely separate training, but I'll kind of point out the main things that I'll look at here whenever we're like auditing a property for a client or a consulting client. Once again, this isn't a Pricelabs training specifically, but revenue, I'll kind of spot check the revenue. So like this is a whole market. I don't really care about that. Let's just go into a specific property. All right. So like if you're looking at revenue, like, some quick things that jump off the page for me is like you see some spikes here, which Pricelabs will pick up, but you also see some huge dips. Like for me, if I'm heading into, so this is January, I already know January and February, but if I'm going into a different market, or if I'm trying to figure out what's going on, like January and February are almost 50% down from revenue compared to the other months. Like everything else is like fairly steady, but you got this huge dip. So if I'm in November, December in that prime booking window, I'm adjusting rates for January, February to make sure I'm dialed in to these prices right here. Hopefully you guys can see that. If not, I apologize. RevPAR we talked about. ADR, this is another one. ADR is great, but like most people are overpriced and under occupied, therefore under like not making enough money. It's simple. So ADR is like, if you only look at ADR and you're like, oh, I'm priced at 250 and everybody else is 270, like I'm underpriced. But like if you land a 5-night booking at 270 and everybody else is booked for 2 or 3 nights, you are going to outperform them hand over fist. Occupancy, this is another big one. So just combining all of those. This booking window, this is a very important one as well that we look at a lot. Not so much length of stay, but the booking window. So like here, I mean, you get 2 huge spikes here. So April and June, I mean, the booking window is 60 days, 70 days. So, like, comparative to the rest of the market, or even to the booking window up here, to 26 days for this entire comp set, like, we're something is happening here to where, like, people are booking out far in advance. So I know specifically, like, summer months, this is peak season. As you can see here, last June, July, August crushed it. So people are booking further and further out. So one thing to note here is this is like year to date. So right now it's June 4th as of this recording. So these 70 nights, this could be like a handful of bookings, maybe 3 bookings out of the whole comp set. So, like, could be completely skewed off the radar. But April, like, we have a full month here. Sorry, for May. We got a full month of 61 days. So, like, that's, love to see that. Love to see that. Here's some kind of popular indicators. Pricelabs usually gets that done pretty well, of like, oh, we saw a huge increase from this day to this day. And then also some customizations that you can set up. All the other stuff I don't really ever use. This one's probably one of my favorite graphs, just to see when people are booking, how far in advance. So, like, here you got a ton of bookings that are happening 2 to 4 months in advance. Majority are staying 3 to 4 days, which confirms this over here. This same data kind of flip-flopped. But a lot of people are staying 3 to 4 days and then booking out 2 to 4 months, actually 2 to 6 months in advance, staying 3 to 4 days. So that's kind of the sweet spot. I would get these bookings first, and then you got one actually that's staying very long. So that one is really important. Some of these amenities they're cool to kind of look at. I think most of these are like, I mean, everybody's going to have self check-in, cooking basics, Wi-Fi, smoke alarm, microwave, like that's, if you're in like a market, like a mountain market, for example, and you have, like, usually it's hot tub is up here, you almost have to have those. So those are a little bit more important. Desired amenities. This is a little bit more important. I've just seen better stats as I kind of come through here. Like extra pillows, blankets, that's a big one. Coffee is a big one. Hangers, that's interesting that's their outdoor dining area. So, like, as you see, people going into summer, people want to be outside. So making sure you have that outdoor area set up. And then weekly, monthly discounts. This is more of just like spot checking what the property is going to do from a weekly and monthly standpoint. Our kind of general rule of thumb is we'll do like 10 to 15% weekly, and then 20 to 30% monthly, unless this is like something wildly different. So, like, I don't know if you guys can see this monthly. Monthly discount. You got a huge chunk over here. Percent of bookings, 54% of bookings had it looks like a 36 to 40% booking. So, like, people are liking this booking monthly discount window. Cleaning fee. This is a big one, but less important now because of the whole cleaning fee change on Airbnb, where everything is lumped together. All the prices are lumped together. Cancellation policy, another big one. Extra. All these are big to make sure you're tweaking the right lever. But those are kind of the most important things that I look at on the market dashboard. And then, kind of third and foremost, once again, I see a decent amount of people on here. If you have specific questions, want me to stop and kind of clarify on the Pricelabs stuff, or if you just have, so this is Q&A, like if you got random hosting questions, drop them in the comments below. So multi-calendar here, market dashboards here. I have recently been digging into the report builder. So I'm not going to go into a report just because it's got like all of our clients' data and whatnot. But there are 2 big reports that we've really been tweaking. Is the historical revenue by month versus last year, and then the pacing by month. So we've done some like crazy tweaks on these to get the data of what we need. But the reason why I mention this is um, I think the two hardest questions, and let me know if I'm right or wrong here. The two hardest questions is like, I feel like a lot of hosts, it's like, hey, how did I do last month after all expenses are paid? But then it's like, it's too late. So like you've already, like, last month it's history. I think the harder question is like, how are we doing right now this month looking forward? So that's the pacing by month. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I have learned. I mean, it's probably been 2 weeks, 3 weeks since we've like really dialed in these reports. So I can come in here and filter and be like, okay, these 3 properties are underperforming comparative to our goal. Why are they? So we know which ones to focus on versus like, if you were to poll me a year ago of like what do you do well and what do you not do well, we didn't have really anything forward focus. It was all like, what did we do last month? Why did we miss? Why did we hit? How far? How much more money did we make over our goal? So it's a little bit different with that, with historical data, historical revenue compared to last year, and the pacing. So obviously historical's past, pacing is like where you're at moving forward. I wish I can download these, but I wish I could share them. Maybe I can talk to Pricelabs. You can download it, but it like downloads the spreadsheet. I wish I could like honestly give this away in my community or potentially sell it, because we've spent a lot of time editing these. Maybe that'll be a future goal. But those are kind of the biggest things that we look at. The Estimator Pro, it's kind of like an AirDNA alternative where you can plug in an address and it gives you like how much money this property can make. I used it right when it first came out in beta. It was not very accurate from the properties that we ran. AirDNA is just, that's all they do. So I would stick with AirDNA. That's what we've done. Bookings report. This is, if you don't have a property management system, you can get some really good data here. Yeah, we just build it from scratch. The customizations. This is probably a important one to look at. I think that's we've got like multiple groups here. You can set up specific profiles. Like you've got all the different customizations here. But I'd say the biggest thing here is like, what's the biggest thing here? You're able to kind of, it's the easiest way to explain this to somebody that doesn't know what the group is. So if you're in a beach market and your booking window is like 30 days and people are staying the Saturday to Saturday check-in, you can set up a group to where you're like, okay, I need a 7-night minimum, 60 days out, only from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So only the peak season. That's when that booking window happens. You can set it up in a group of like beach booking window, or call it whatever you want. And then you can, let's say you have 5 beach properties, you can tag that property with that group. So that way all of those settings get pushed down from the group down to the individual listing. So you're saving so much time with like setting up you would have to do 5 times the work versus doing it in the group and then just adding the group to that individual listing. Now, I will say not all settings need to go on the group level. There's only, probably 30-40% that should go on the group level. And then that pushes down, and then everything else should be set up on the listing level. Actually, maybe a little bit more than 30%, maybe 50%. Like the adjacent rules, the weekend rules, custom seasonal profile, that can be on the group. Far out premium, price rounding, adjacent, day of the week adjustments, orphan days, all those things. I've done a completely separate training on that. If you want access, just shoot me a message down below. What questions do you guys have? We've got looks like 7 people live right now watching. Appreciate you rocking with me. What questions? And I'll kind of go through here, see if there's anything else that um, is important. We got a lot. Yeah, a lot set up there. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's probably the biggest things. Um, yeah, I honestly, I think that's it. I could do a completely separate training on like market dashboards, the multi-calendar, the rules. Like, actually, if you want that entire training, it is in the school free community. I will put the link down below if you want to jump in there. I have a completely free launchpad program for Airbnb hosts that want to make more money. Fire your manager, hire us, whatever it is. It will help you out dramatically. It is completely free. No fee. Just join the school group. But thank you guys for rocking with me. STR Q&A Friday. We are talking a little bit more advanced topics Friday at 1 o'clock versus Wednesdays at 6.